More than one poet has said that this world is not made of atoms, it's made of stories. Stories are what keeps the world going. There's another old idea that says the world cannot end unless all the stories in it came to their end. So that by living one's own story, and even by talking about one's own life, the way people do when they go home in the evening. As a matter of fact, the word relationship comes from relating your story to a person over and over again. That's what builds the relationship. But at the same time that people are doing that, in honestly telling one story, in a sense, mythologically, we're contributing to the world continuing, to the world ongoing. Another way to approach stories is the word story is related to storehouse. And so inside stories are stored those important things that people keep forgetting. When people approach the world as a realm of fact, as a measurable place, they begin to lose the story and wind up with mere facts. And the facts are never enough to tell the whole story. And so when people forget the essential things, those things don't disappear. It's not that kind of world. Those things fall back into the stories. And so they say when people are lost, when people are confused, and when people lose their way seriously, the way to find the way again is to go back to the stories. And so at Mosaic, we work with all kinds of stories. The stories of young people trying to find their way into the world, the stories of veterans stumbling back from the blood and chaos of the battlefield, and the stories of different cultures that bring in the great imagination of spirits and of the elements of the soul. And so the stories would, in traditional cultures, even be carved, like you see behind me, where people have carved the image from the story so that they can't forget it. They would actually keep the carvings in the house. They would live with them and be near them so they remembered that they were part of this great vertical world of imagination, which is really stories piled on top of stories. And even the modern world, everybody waits for the news. And the news people are trying to figure out with what story do we lead today, because you can't get away from it. The world is made from stories, and each person comes into the world with a story already seated inside them, and life really is the living out of the story that brought each one of us to the world. So here we talk about sharing stories, and in sharing stories, building community, because community is really the aggregation of the stories of the people who happen to be alive and be willing to share with each other. So that's what we mean when we talk about voices and stories.